All right, it is Thursday, January 18th, about 12:15 in the afternoon. Traded a little bit later than I was planning to, and today didn't go quite as well as I was hoping. Two evals got blown up today. Two other eval accounts, I was positive one trade on each account for $293 combined. Here, the way I'm looking at it based on, you know, kind of psychology or however you want to look at it, or gaming theory of how to trade Apex accounts. I'm not even going to list the amount of money that these accounts actually lost. I mean, you can see here, Eval 31 lost 1,576, and Eval 22 lost 1,000 or 1,158. But really, what I really lose, I lost $60. That's what I lost. I paid 80% off for the two eval accounts. So I lost $60 today, which is a hell of a lot better than losing 1,100 in one account and 1,500 in the other. This is the advantage of playing the Apex game and trading with prop firms. And so I think that's a good example of why it's not even worth putting up here, actually, how much I lost on these evaluation accounts, because it's not real money. They're sim accounts. I paid out of my pocket $60 for those two accounts. And when I blow those two accounts up, I've lost $60 essentially. So now these evaluation accounts where I won is also not real money. So I didn't really win $293, but this $293 is towards the goal of passing the accounts. And so today counts as a day towards passing on these two accounts. And, still got some ways to go. I need to get to 53,000 on the 50K. So I'm about 1,600 away there. And, let's see. Yeah. And on this account, need to get to 26.5. So we're still about 1,050 away from there. But that's how I'm looking at it. So today I was 4 wins and 3 losses. It was a very mixed day. It was a very kind of off day for me. Definitely very different from yesterday's trading day for me. And really just want to get right into the trades and show the recordings, because that's going to take quite some time to go through the 7 trades I took. And you can see that my overall stats now, I'm 23-6 in 2024 for 79%. I'm 9-3 for the week, 12 trades, 75%, and today was 4-3, so that's a pretty dismal 57%. So let's get into the first trades and start talking about this right away. All right, so my first trade was on this chart, and very much did notice a very big push up, and probably would have been smart. I never did do this, but probably would have been smart to measure that and then see where that goes. Now it didn't get anywhere close to that on the next push up, but it's good to just kind of have an idea what a second leg might look like. And so today was one of those days. It was strange because I had 4 charts up that I was looking at, and they all had no losers for the day when I started at 6:45. And all through here, there were trades on multiple charts. And I just kept skipping them because each trade didn't look quite right to me. It just, whether it was a signal bar that had strength in the wrong direction of the trade, or just it felt very choppy. It wasn't clear which direction it was going. And there were actually 5 trades that I skipped that would have all been winners. And I have 5 accounts. I have 4 evaluations. Well, I had 4 evaluations. I had 4 evaluations and 1 PA. So right there, the 5 trades, if I just was having my mentality that I had like yesterday, where I was just taking every trade on a winning chart, I would have had my 5 trades for the day and been able to call it long before my first trade at, around 8:20 in the morning or whatever it was. So right away, I was just kind of off. Just on one hand, I was good that I was being patient, but on the other hand, I wasn't using my edge like I did yesterday successfully, and just not trusting the chart. And it's just one of those days where I just all day today struggled psychologically, I would say. With what I'm trying to do, I really need to just trust the chart. If I am working on a chart that hasn't taken a loss, I just have to take the trade. And even if it goes against my rules, or I have to just play my rules and not take every trade. It's very hard to do it in between. So I'm still trying to figure out what the best approach is, because if I do take every trade, today would have actually been green across the board on all my accounts. Yesterday was green across the board on all my accounts. So I have two scenarios where one day I trusted it, another day I didn't. The day I trusted it, I was green across my accounts. Today, I didn't trust it, and I've blown up two accounts, and I have two accounts that I've got a winning trade, which is my goal for each day. So really just have to kind of think about it and decide really what my approach is going to be. It's really hard to ignore my rules, really hard to just say, okay, I'm going to just trust the chart. It feels like Russian roulette. It feels like, okay, well, you're breaking your rule. So if you're breaking your rule and you're taking this trade and you lose, then you can't say, oh, well, I should have followed my rule, because you're saying you're going to take every trade. So it's a little bit of a conundrum for me in this strategy that I have to get comfortable with, or figure out how I'm going to go about what I'm trying to do. Because the idea is absolutely, the idea that I'm trading is I'm supposed to just take every trade. And I'm not supposed to apply really rules to it, especially on a chart that hasn't had a loss. Now, if I've seen a loss or two, then that changes it. Then I should start applying the rules, I think. So I don't know why I started today off feeling the way I was, where I just wasn't being able to lean into it. And I ended up paying the price for it a little bit. So as I said, I skipped all these trades in here for the first hour of trading. And then I got to my first trade of the day, and you can see it was a winning trade. Entered one tick here, and you can see that the scalp was more than reached. But when we take a look at this trade on the recording, you're going to see that something goes wrong here. So let me bring it up and let's take a look at it. I haven't watched this recording of the trade yet, from when it was recorded live, but here we go. And when I was in the trade, I noticed something strange was going on, but I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And it looks like I started this a little too early. Let me pause and set it. All right, so here we go. Signal bar closes. I'm in this trade. And if you watch over here, now the scalp has already been reached, but it hasn't taken me out of the trade, and I'm still seeing a loss here for the commissions. And so right around here, I'm figuring out, wait, what's going on. And here it's just showing the one contract for the runner on the stop. So I really didn't know what to do. You can see I was up $480 at that point already. But because it didn't give me the scalp, I was just really confused. And so I moved the stop to, I think, around break even +1, or I was thinking about doing that, but I was still trying to figure out why, if I got the scalp, is it not closing? I should have gone up here and closed it already in that positions window, but I was just confused. It was, I just wasn't seeing things clearly. And so there it took my runner out at break even, or break even +1, but I was still in the trade. So now by the time I realized, oh, I need to close out whatever position I'm in, I closed it when it was in the green, but right when I closed it, it actually was in the red. So right off the bat, had a winning trade and ended up taking a small loss of like $55. And I think that just right off the bat threw me off, because it's like, what happened? And it's interesting because I don't even have to use a trade copy. And you're seeing here, I'm checking like what the numbers say, because it doesn't make sense. And the problem is that and I probably shouldn't be doing this, especially now that I'm not copying multiple accounts. But what I was doing when I was copying multiple accounts was I was using a sim leader account as my leader account on my trade copier. And then I would pick what accounts I wanted to trade to with the copier. So I think something happened on this one where the sim account took it as if it closed the account or closed the contracts on the scalp, but my Apex account didn't close the scalps, so they were still live. And then I moved the stop loss manually to break even or break even +1. So then when that got hit, those contracts I believe got taken out. Or that single contract, but I was still in for the 3. So by the time I pushed the button, I took a loss, and right away from that point on for the rest of the day, just, felt off, was frustrated that I had skipped 5 trades already, could have been done already. Now I have a small loss on one account. And so then, was waiting for another a trade. And so now I decided to stick with the same account, since I was already red, and see if I can make that green. So let's see the second trade. All right, so now trade 2 on evaluation 22. And here I broke my rule. And let me check here. Let me see. Hold on one second here. Right, so I was just double checking. So this chart now is a different chart where I took this trade. And this chart as well had no losses for the entire day's session, including the overnight, for my scalp size. So again, because the rule that I was supposed to be playing with even earlier today was that I'm supposed to take every trade. So now here's a case where we shot through the EMA. I already took a risky trade that should have worked but didn't work, and I took a small loss. And so now I was thinking, well, I skipped all those trades earlier. They all won. None of them looked good, but they were all on charts that hadn't had a loss yet. And so even though it shot through the EMA, and even though I didn't have a great signal bar, I said, well, what I'm supposed to do is take every trade. So I took the trade, which is what I should have done earlier, and I could have already been done for the day by now, but I didn't do that. And so now I finally am doing what I should have been doing today, but it didn't work out for me. So this wasn't a good signal bar, and it shot through the EMA. And, even if you're kind of like thinking about the big leg up, or, this looks like a big leg up, you should probably expect another big leg up, or even here, there's a big leg up, you should probably expect a bigger leg up. In any case, I took the trade. Now, what's funny is you can see right here, as I zoom in, I got stopped out on the very top tick of this bar. Literally the highest tick, I got stopped out, and then it ended up working. So, just one of those days, it's just one of those days. I got stopped out. I lost this trade, and this trade made the evaluation number 22 very low, like within a couple hundred or less of the trailing drawdown to blow up the account. So let's just take a look at this one live real quick. All right, so here we go. This is the live recording of my trade number 2 on the same evaluation account. So now I'm already doing something different than what the plan is, because I'm supposed to take a trade and then move to the next one, the next account. But because I took the small loss that was supposed to be a win, I wanted to stay with the same account and try to get a win on the board for it and make it green. So here the bar is about to close, and I can tell it's not going to be a great bar, but here I'm telling myself in this moment, well, you skipped all those other trades that worked. The chart hasn't lost yet. You should probably enter this trade because that's what you're upset you didn't do before. So here you can see I enter it at the last moment, I drop my order in at the last moment, and then it'll finally tick me in for the trade. And then as soon as it as I'm in the trade, it doesn't even go any further. And usually when it does that, you can kind of tell that, okay, this one's probably going to be a loss when it starts moving against you right away. Typically, these work in my favor pretty quickly when they're good. So this one takes some time. And it's just literally one of those things where, what do you do when you have a system where you're saying you're supposed to take every trade regardless of rules, regardless of signal bars, regardless of anything you've learned about price action? You see the entry, the chart hasn't lost, you're supposed to take them. And so you spend an hour of your morning not following your trade plan, which is that, on charts that haven't lost. And you miss 5 trades, which could have been your 5 trades for the day, and you could be done. And then you get a trade like this where it's the same situation and you just had a trade that should have been a winner that ended up being a small loss. I count it as a win, by the way, because it technically won. It was just a trade copier, error kind of situation. But as far as counting the stats, it was a winning trade that worked for my scalp. So at this point, I'm considering myself 1-0 before this trade. And we'll see. This one takes a while to play out here. But yeah, it's just one of those days. It's just like, man, it could have been a great day. And just due to not following the game plan and just kind of feeling a little off and not trusting things, it just didn't work out. Yesterday was a great day and just went really smoothly. And I leaned into the game plan and leaned into what the charts were doing if they were working, and it worked out. And today, I just wasn't able to do it for whatever reason. I just had a hesitancy to trust it. And, it cost me. It's fine. At the end of the day, like I talked about earlier, I lost $60 today, which, to lose $60 in reality when, if you were trading in the live market with a live brokerage, I would have lost, $2,600 or whatever it was. You can't feel too bad about it in that sense of things. But here we go. We're going to see this bar eventually make its way up. And here already, I was already feeling like, this, if I'm following my rules, this isn't a good trade. This doesn't fit any of my rules. It doesn't have a good signal bar. The price shot through the EMA strong. When it pulled back, it couldn't even get to the EMA. And here I am going short. So I'm definitely going counter trend. But, if you're going to trust the chart, you're going to trust the chart. So on this particular trade, I trusted the chart. And it was just really bad timing. You can see it tags my stop there. Literally hunts my stop and then doesn't go back, So we don't have to play this out because, I'll go back to the chart here and you can just see, literally ticked me out at the very last tick on top ticked out, only for it to go in my direction. That's going to happen sometimes. It's just a bummer. So many of the trades when I'm just trusting the charts would have worked today. I could have been 5-0, and instead, like I said, 4-3. So right there, that almost basically blew that account. So from there, let's bring up trade number 3. All right, so here you can see my trade number 3, and you can see this is wherever that last trade was taken on a different chart. Top ticked out, and then a great move down. So now I took a trade here. This is trade number 3, and it had 2 legs down, big move down, and we were back at the opening price, and it kind of looked like, you know, that price has been tested 1, 2, 3 times here. And I like to trade off of things like that. I like to trade off of the open. I like to trade off of previous days, lows or highs. You know, I like setups that happen there. Seem to work pretty good. Again, not the best signal bar, but just, you know, again, this was, let me double check my facts here. Okay, so this chart was pretty good, but it actually had a couple losses earlier in the day. So already this chart is not super reliable. But again, I did like it for this reason here, and the resistance all the way up until here. So I took this trade. It was a winner. I did take it on the Eval 22 again. There wasn't any drawdown to cause me any issues. So let's watch that one play out on the live recording. All right, so here's the live recording of it. And here it's bouncing off that opening price, which is the white dashed line. And also because this account was nearly dead, and I was just trading the evaluation 22 only, I decided, you know what, this is as good of a setup as any to take it and either let it die or and you can see here it's within, you know, $200 of the threshold at that time. So it's either going to go against me $200 and it's going to be a blown account, or I'm going to get a win. Maybe I'll get a runner and get some back. So I took the trade, and unfortunately no runner, but the trade copier worked fine this time. You know, I got my profit, and so now I'm up about $300 on the account. And so on my next trade, let me pull it up here. So here we are on my trade number 4. And so on this trade, I actually decided that instead of only trading evaluation number 22, because my last trade I traded evaluation 22 and it was kind of a waste because I am trading it on a red account when I could have copied it to an additional account, and that could have been one more account that had a green day and a winning trade. So on this trade, I decided to add evaluation number 23 to it as well. And well, as you can see here with my notes, this trade worked and got the scalp, no runner, but it actually blew up my evaluation 22 on this trade because the pullback after the entry went far enough to take out my $300 drawdown. So Eval 22 blew up on a winning trade here, just didn't have enough room. I could have lowered the contracts or whatever, but that's not my strategy. My strategy is to just go bigger on these evaluations, and I'm trading max contracts on the 25Ks, and I'm still trading 4 contracts on the 50Ks. And, you know, it was pretty much dead anyway. So I'd rather just move on and work on a new evaluation for 80% than not. So, but the thing I'm happy I did was to add evaluation 23. So while I blew up evaluation 22 on this particular trade, even though it was a winning trade, I did secure the benefit of on account number 23 getting a profit. So let's take a look at that trade on the live recording. All right, so here we go. This is the live recording now of my trade number 4. And you'll see that I'll be in this trade for evaluation 22 and 23. I like the trade. Another double bottom. It's like a 4th test of the open price. And you see right there that pullback already. Let's see. There it is. That pullback just took out evaluation number 22. If it had just a little bit more room on the drawdown, it would have survived this trade and ended up being a winner for it. Luckily, like I said, trading evaluation number 23 as well. And so I wished I had done that on the trade before this as well, because that would have been 2 accounts I would have had wins on, and it would have actually saved me from my last loss, because I wouldn't have had to trade that account again. And yeah, and today was just a tough day. Usually these trades have been working pretty quickly for me, just to get 11 ticks. And, these trades today, it took much more for them to end up going in my favor, much more time. And so, this could have been my second account getting a green day. And instead, this is just my first account getting a green day because I didn't think to add an extra account to the previous trade. But at least I did it on this one, so I got a green account, first one of the day here. And it took me my fourth trade now at this point. So you can see how already at this point I'm 3-1 on the day. Technically, 3 of the 4 trades won, but I only have one account in the green. So like my whole scheme is off for the day already at this point. And maybe at this point I should have just said, hey, this day is kind of weird. Leave it here with one blown and one green and not touch anything else for the day. Here you go. So there you see my runner was taken out, and it wasn't taken out. I had to manually do it. So I think that one may have worked out in my favor a little bit. I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely something strange going on with the copier today. And going back to my live chart, so you can see this went up a little bit more. So, if I didn't manually close out the trade, maybe I could have locked in a little bit more profit on the runner, but it is what it is. So let's go to trade 5 now. All right, so that last trade was right here on a different chart. And so now we're going under the opening price. And what I liked about this one was simply now we're at the previous day's highs. And so I was using the previous day's high as a support level, just enough to hopefully get my scalp. And I had room to the opening price. So I figured not a bad trade to take. And I took this one only on my evaluation number 32. As you can see, I got the win for just the scalp and a break even +1 on the runner. So let's pull that one up and watch the live recording of it. All right, so here's the live recording of it now. And you can see it's bouncing off of that previous day high, acting as support. And, I'm just looking for my small 11 tick scalp. And then if anything more comes, it'll be a lucky runner. I wasn't even looking at it until it looked like the bar was going to open bullish. And you see I took it away and then I put it back when the bar is going to be bullish. Because this one was really important for me. On all these where I'm playing the support zones like that, I want to see a bullish bar. And considering how my day was going, at this point I was like, okay, I have to have a bullish bar to enter the trade. So you could see my orders there ready to go. I'm still at this point copying from the sim account to my Apex evaluation. I think it was on the trade after this that I decided to stop doing that. And really, if I'm just trading one account at a time, there's no reason for me to use the sim account. I can just manually change them in the charts. So here's another one where it touched my order, got me into the trade, and then immediately went the other direction. I thought, okay, maybe this was a bad idea. But and again, this was on another chart that was really good. And had only had one loss the entire day at that point. So there you see my scalp was so I got my scalp, and then you see it takes me out for the runner on the break-even stop on the runner. And so that was that trade. And so now, really at this point, things were pretty good. Let me go back to the video recording, so you can see at this point things are pretty good. I've got 2 accounts that are green, and I've got 1 account that's blown up, and I had 1 more evaluation that I could trade at this point. Now, if I had done 1 trade earlier, what I had done on that previous trade where I copied a second trade or a second account on my copier with evaluation number 22 that eventually got blown up, I would have already had 3 wins at this point across my 3 other evaluations. And I'm quite certain I wouldn't have traded my PA at this point on this day, considering how the day was going for me. So, I could have been 3 green accounts and 1 blown up. That could have easily been a scenario if I had thought of that a little bit earlier on my first winning trade after my first loss. And I just didn't do that. So now, because the day's just been kind of a little weird, I'm still looking for another trade on my last evaluation account to trade for the day. And so let me bring that one up now. All right, and so here it is. And this is exactly against my rule. If I'm using my rules should keep me out of this particular trade. Now, on this chart, there had already been some losers, 2 losers previously. So it shouldn't be a chart where I'm just blindly trusting every entry. I could clearly see that there's been 2 legs down, and now it's made a strong push through the EMA, and I'm taking a counter momentum trade. And really, I think this is one that I could have skipped. Let me pause here real quick. Yeah, so as you can see here, now that I've got the marks in, you can see it literally ticked me in and then just went against me the whole time. And then eventually stopped me out and made a really strong push all the way to the highs of the day. And so this is a good example of, at this point, I got to be more aware of which charts are running hot and which charts are just kind of mixed or so-so. And this chart, even though I had a trade previously that I won on it, that wasn't the best. And there were still a couple losses before that trade too. Coming back to this chart, I just need to be more aware that, hey, this is a chart that isn't like showing that it's going to win every time. And so if I had taken that into account, I really should have skipped this trade, because it just, when it pushes right through the EMA like that, and also, if you just draw the diagonal line, which I typically do, you're on the left side of that with not really a lot of room to it. And it just looks like 1 leg. It doesn't even look like there's a second leg or anything yet. So there's really no reason to take this trade on this particular chart at this particular time. And I think I just took it because of, honestly, the 80% sale and the 1-day pass, and just having that in the back of your head, like, okay, well, no matter what happens, you can just buy another account if you blow a second account. So, now I've blown 2 accounts for the day. And this trade actually didn't blow it on this trade by itself. But here, let's watch trade 6 and we'll talk about it. All right, so here we go. The signal bar setting up. There was room to the opening price, but again, because it shot through the opening price, it shot through the EMA, it really didn't even act barely as resistance at the opening price level, that white dashed line. And the fact that this chart had lost a couple times already today, really, the only thing it had going for it was a really good, strong bearish bar as a signal bar. And I really should have skipped this one. Just, at this point, follow your rules. Also, it's later in the day. It's already 10:30 at this point in time, or 10:50. So it's already later in the day than I really want to trade. So there's just kind of multiple reasons here that this was a trade I could have skipped. I could have avoided it. There's just so many indications that this isn't really a good trade. And at this point, there's no reason for me to trust this chart. So to me, this is the one trade that I got to take responsibility for and say, better than take this trade. And it was really just, I think, because of the way the day was going, the rest of the day, with these trades that I just was frustrated. And, this actually takes a while to play out. So I'm just going to fast forward here a little bit. It looks like it's going to take me out, and then it doesn't. I'm just skipping 30 seconds at a time because this takes quite some time that I was stuck in this. And it just kept toying with me. I knew it was going to be a loser, but it just kept toying with me like, oh, you want it to work? I'll go in your favor a little bit. And then I'm going to snatch it away from you and rip your heart out. So here we go. I'm just skipping 30 seconds at a time here. And then, I think it was this bar that finally ends up taking it out. And by this trade, I wasn't using the sim account as a leader anymore. I was just trading directly off the chart, off of the actual Apex account, which is probably what I just need to do from now on when I'm not copy trading multiple accounts. All right, so there's that account. And you can see on the video here that I still had, about $200 of drawdown. So, at this point, I'm looking at it like when I take a loss on a trade with this system, I'm playing max contracts on these 25K accounts. So one loss is pretty much going to blow it up. Not necessarily in one trade, but I know that going in that I'm risking the account anytime I get a loss trading this way. So let me pause here and bring up the last trade, which is just the trade that wipes out this evaluation. All right, so here we are on another chart. Now this is the chart that I took this trade way back here, and as you can see, we had that really strong move up. There was clearly two legs up and some, and it was really the first time we were testing the EMA since it shot through it. So the fact that it was the first test of the EMA, and also there's just the fact that, $200 and the account's going to be dead anyway. So the way I looked at it was, well, it could even be a winning trade and I could potentially lose the trade. So just because of the drawdown issue. So I didn't love this trade. I didn't love the signal bar. At this point on this chart, let me see here. On this point on this chart had lost a couple times already. So again, it's not a situation where I should just be, blindly trusting the chart. But I did like the fact that it was the first test of the EMA when it couldn't even reach it before. Super strong trend up, and just kind of felt like no reason. I've got $30 on the line on this account, and took the trade. And as you can see, it really just turned right against me right away. And as you can see here, it didn't even need to reach the stop to obviously blow up the account. So this account got blown before the trade even actually lost, even though it still did go on to lose. And you can see this is the live account or live market right now, closing at 1 p.m., which means this is another really long video. So let's watch the live recording of the trade and then wrap it up. All right, so here we go. We've got the signal bar about to close right off the EMA. And, this was just me saying, well, the account's basically already blown regardless. And if I want, I can buy 2 more accounts to replace these 2 that I lost today for the 80% off. And I'll talk about that in a second once this plays out. But yeah, I didn't love this trade. I knew we already made a high, so that could have easily been it for the high of the day. At this point of the day, I'm trading later than I typically want to trade with the system, and you can see it just took me out right there, and that was it. And so at that point, we have 2 accounts blown on today. So yeah, having said all that, here's the last thing I just want to talk about. I know going into trading this way that I'm running the risk of blowing up more accounts because I'm just trading really aggressive. I'm trading max contracts on the 25K, and I'm supposed to be leaning into the charts that don't have losses and just taking the trades to fill up all of my accounts and then walking away for the day. So the fact that I started today off, that I wasn't leaning into the winning chart, I wasn't just taking the trade, I was overthinking things, I wasn't using my edge for the system. And today it cost me 2 accounts because I literally could have been green across the board today. So that's one thing I have to keep in mind. But secondarily, again, I got to remember it's not that big a deal. It feels like, when you take these losses, it feels like I lost $1,576 here. It feels like I lost $1,158 here. But that's not the reality of trading on Apex. The reality is I blew up 2 accounts and I lost $60. That's how much I paid for those accounts. And, they're going to renew and I'm going to pay another $60 for them. And since Apex is running the 80% discount still right now, I'm probably going to buy 2 accounts today. So I'll have 2 additional accounts in my stable of accounts. And it's a little tough for me to buy the 2 today. I guess technically I'll wait until it's tomorrow so I don't waste a day. But I do have 2 accounts coming back online this weekend. I'm not sure. It's one of these. I don't know if it's at 28 and 29 or 27, 26, but 2 of those accounts I'm going to be paying for this weekend anyways. So that will be $60 for those 2 accounts because they renew for 80%. And then because I lost these 2 accounts today, which wasn't part of the game plan, I think what I'll do is I'll just replace those today as well for 80% off. They don't renew. I think they don't renew for a little while still. So, I think it's this one. Account 31 doesn't renew until like the beginning of February. And then account 22, I think actually renews in like a week and a half. But just given the 80% off, I might as well just spend an extra $60. I'll have 2 more evaluations in the stable of accounts. And then that way, when I'm leaning into my strategy, like the way I want to, I do have more accounts at my disposal. And it's really just about trying to get more accounts passed more quickly. And then I also want to get back to working on my PA account. But what I'd really love is if I can pass, 1 or 2 more evaluations and get another PA or 2 as backups that I can rotate between. I'd really love to have that in my back pocket as I continue to trade this PA account, because I know as I get closer and closer to a payout, I'm feeling the pressure more and more that I really want to make sure that that payout happens and I don't, run into a day like today where I take a loss and it sets me way back. Or do something stupid, end up blowing it up and then not having any more PAs to work on at the moment. So I think I've said it all for today. The 1-day pass is still going on. And, I think this is kind of an example also of like this 1-day pass thing and the 80% off. It does affect me and it does make me change the way I'm doing things. And it's like, oh, you have in the back of your head, well, I could just buy 2 more if I lose these 2. And, it's not really the way I want to be thinking. I want to just be thinking like the way I've been thinking on my PA account, which is, hey, when I take a trade, the edge is on my side and I should be winning the trade. And, literally this account, 15 trades in a row, I've taken wins on the PA account. And I want to keep that mentality up. When I take trades, it should be for one of 2 reasons. It should be because the chart hasn't lost yet and I'm leaning into the edge of knowing that the chart keeps working, or I'm applying some of my rules in combination with the chart. And even though the chart's had a couple losses, it's mostly been running good. And so when I apply just some of my rules to it, now I've got the edge back on my side and I can avoid some of these losses. So that's it for today. just kind of a little bit of a bummer of a day, but at least I do have two of my accounts, two evals headed in the right direction. I will bring two new accounts online for tomorrow's trading. I will then get another two accounts added over the weekend, and hopefully get back to what I was doing yesterday and what I was doing previously on my PA account. The one good thing about today is I just stayed away from my PA account. I felt weird about today from the jump, and so I was not even considering jump trading my PA account today, and I think for good reason. So I would like to get another trade on the PA hopefully tomorrow, and we'll just have to see how tomorrow goes and see if I can lean into a winning chart tomorrow. And that's about it for me. So thanks for watching. Like or subscribe if you're interested in continuing to follow this journey. See if I can get to a payout. See if I can get more PAs. See if I can turn this into a winning strategy, not only for the trades I actually take, but a winning strategy as far as being able to become profitable trading Apex. So that's it. See you tomorrow. Thanks.